Live Lean Nation, I'm Brad Guthrell from LiveLeanTV.com. Now on today's episode, I'm sharing 3 simple steps to lose fat for beginners. So let's be real guys, there's no shortage of information on our YouTube channel, our website, or even in the internet in general on how to lose fat. In fact, over the 6 years, we've posted hundreds of videos sharing numerous fat loss tips. So the question is, with all this fat loss information available to you, why are you still not able to lose fat? Well, based on the thousands of fat loss questions that we've received over the years, I would say this: you're majoring in the minors. Now, here's what I mean by this. Meet Joe. Joe is 5'11" and currently 250 pounds. Joe gets a body fat percentage test at his local gym and it's calculated that he has 30% body fat. So Joe goes home and searches on YouTube, best tips to lose body fat. Now, depending on which video Joe clicks on, he could receive numerous different tips on how to lose body fat. For example, he could get a tip that he should be focusing on doing cardio fasted in the morning, or he could get a tip saying follow intermittent fasting, or another tip, follow a diet comprised of paleo-approved foods and cut out all refined carbohydrates cold turkey. Now, don't get me wrong, all these tips could be very effective for fat loss, but how effective they are depends on where you currently are in the fat loss continuum. So if Joe was 15% body fat like his buddy Michael, who was following a program to get down to 8% body fat, then yes, these fat loss tips could be very helpful. But Joe is 30% body fat. He hasn't walked more than half a mile since 1993, and his only sources of vegetables are French fries and tomato sauce on top of a pizza. So do you really think Joe should be spending his time on figuring out if fasted cardio in the morning is better than fueled cardio for fat loss? Or do you think he should be debating if sweet potatoes are a better carbohydrate source than brown rice? No, Joe is not at the same place in his Live Lean journey as his buddy Michael. Joe doesn't have any momentum at this time, so he needs to take his Live Lean journey one step at a time. Living lean, guys, is not about being perfect in the beginning. Living lean is about taking consistent daily progress, and that daily progress for Joe could simply mean eating only pizza 4 times a week if he's currently eating pizza 5 times a week. That is 1 less pizza per week, and that is progress for Joe that is sustainable. So if we told Joe starting tomorrow, you can never eat pizza again, do you think that he could sustain that at his current level? Definitely not. So when you're living lean, you've made the mindset switch to successfully turn your diet and workouts into a lifestyle. We're not about short-term fad diets here, it's a lifestyle. So with that said, here are 3 beginner fat loss tips that you can begin to slowly incorporate into your lifestyle to create momentum as a beginner. And by incorporating these steps into your daily routine, you are setting your body up to burn fat rather than store it. So here we go, guys. Number 1, over time, continue to replace refined and processed carbohydrates with higher quality sources of carbohydrates. So guys, this step is key and probably the main culprit in most people's diets. Refined carbohydrates are defined as foods that have been processed to take away the nutrients such as B vitamins, fiber, and the iron from the whole grain, if you were talking about bread here. And you're probably wondering, why would food companies do this? Well, the reason is simple. By removing these nutrients, the food's shelf life is increased. So thus it can be sold over a longer period of time in the store. So that's a win for the bottom line of the food manufacturers, but it's a loss for you in your health and your waistline. So examples of these refined carbohydrates include basically anything made with white flour, such as white pasta, white rice, white bread, crackers. And since there is little to no fiber in these carbohydrates, they are quickly converted into sugar and then into your bloodstream at a very high rate. And if you're a beginner at this point, due to your lack of activity, your storage capacity for sugar in the muscle and liver cells is probably full. So thus the insulin hormone has nowhere to transport the sugar other than into the fat cells. So here's how you can apply this tip to improve your current lifestyle. Start a food journal tomorrow. Now, at this point, you don't have to calculate your calories and macros. All I want you to do is simply record what foods you're eating and the amounts on a typical day. Also, I want you to eat like you normally would eat. because this will act as your baseline. Next, take a look at your day's worth of eating and count how many refined carbohydrates you ate. So if you ate 4 pieces of white bread yesterday, your goal for the next week is to eat 3 pieces of white bread and replace that 1 piece of bread with a piece of fruit or vegetable. This is an example of sustainable progress. You're slowly cutting back while adding in other healthy forms of carbohydrates such as fruit and vegetables. You could also replace another piece of bread with a whole grain or a gluten-free bread. Although in most cases it's not perfect, whole grains have not been refined as much, so they do retain a little bit more of their natural nutrients and fiber. So as time goes on and you begin building momentum with your Live Lean journey, you can then focus on replacing all white flour products with higher quality carbohydrate sources like oats, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and then eventually more vegetables and fruit. Then after that, you begin focusing on the minors of carbohydrate timing and where the optimal times to consume them are. Progress, guys, not perfection at this point. And the reason for that is simple. When you get so tied up in these minors, most people will throw their hands up in the air and give up on doing the majors. And as a beginner, we need you focusing on the majors. So number 2, over time, add in some type of protein to your meals and snacks. Sure, in a perfect world, you'd be eating excellent sources of protein such as grass-fed beef, organic chicken, wild fish, and organic whole eggs. But at this point, if all you can afford is conventional ground beef, chicken or canned tuna, and some protein powder, it sure beats fried chicken and fast food burgers and french fries. So here's how you can apply this tip to improve your current lifestyle. The ultimate goal is to incorporate one source of high quality protein with every meal and snack. However, in the beginning, focus on just adding one protein source with every meal. So here's an example. If you love pasta, rather than cutting it out on your diet on day 1, simply reduce the portion of the pasta by 1/3 and replace it by adding in some meatballs or canned chicken or even a protein shake. If you're going to eat a lot of carbs, it's important to have a protein source with it, as protein stimulates the production of a hormone called glucagon. Now, without getting into too much details, glucagon has the opposite effect of insulin. Where insulin sets the stage for fat storage, glucagon sets the stage for fat loss, as glucagon stimulates a certain enzyme which encourages fat burning. So protein also helps build muscle mass, which can help lead to a higher metabolic rate, meaning your body burns more calories throughout the day, even at rest. And another little side tip here, in addition to protein, over time, also try adding in essential fats such as omega-3s. You could supplement with it, or you could focus on more cold water fish like salmon. It's hard to believe, but omega-3 fats can actually help you fight fat. So eventually, as you begin to progress with your Live Lean journey, your plate should be filled with a healthy protein source, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables. That's what I call PFF, protein, fiber, and fat. But until then, in the beginning, some steps are still progress. And the last one, number 3, incorporate more resistance training versus traditional cardio training. So most people think in order to lose fat, they need to hit the cardio machines for multiple hours a day. And sure, cardio machines will help burn calories, thus helping you burn body fat. But excessive cardio can also burn into the necessary muscle that it takes to raise your metabolic rate, thus lowering how many calories and how much fat you can constantly burn throughout the day. So to put this simply, more lean muscle equals more fat burn. That's right, the more lean muscle mass you have, the more body fat your body will burn throughout the day. So this is just because, once again, lean muscle mass increases your body's resting metabolic rate, aka the amount of energy your body uses at rest. So here's how you can apply this tip to your current lifestyle. So as a beginner, try incorporating 2 to 3 full body resistance training sessions with weights per week. Now, I'm not telling you to stop doing cardio, as it really can help an obese person get more active and burn more calories, but I do encourage you to focus more of your workout time with weights. So there you have it, Live Lean Nation. Living lean is about consistent progress, not perfection. So stop focusing on the minors at this stage if you're still a beginner, and start focusing on these 3 major beginner fat loss tips, and you'll surely be on your way to a new, healthier, and leaner self for life, guys. And if you do need a beginner workout program, we put together a Live Lean Beginner Bundle, which contains a workout program for you guys for gym newbies that is designed to help beginners burn body fat, build lean muscle, and feel better than ever. Every exercise in that program has video demonstrations showing you exactly what to do. Hopefully you guys will check it out. Until then, thanks for watching, and keep living lean.